The disagreement that caused Lee Trevino to boycott the tournament might sound unbelievable, but it was a real turning point in his life. Much like the hardships he faced in his career, Lee's childhood was spent in poverty, and he had to overcome personal battles as well. Life truly was a rough ride for him. Trevino had a tough start in life, growing up in poverty in Dallas, Texas. His childhood wasn't easy. He didn't have the comforts many others took for granted, and his family struggled to make ends meet. They didn't have much money, and basic things like food and clothes were sometimes hard to come by. On top of that, being Mexican-American in a time when there weren't many people of his background in the world of golf made things even harder for him. But all those challenges didn't break him. They shaped him. Growing up with such hardships gave Lee a tough, no-nonsense attitude. He learned early on how to work hard, stay focused, and keep going even when things seemed impossible. Trevino has been married 3 times over the years. His first 2 marriages ended in divorce, and it's been said that the pressure of his career played a big part in those relationships falling apart. Being on the road so much with all the traveling and the demands of being a top golfer made it tough to balance his personal life. On top of that, reports have mentioned that his infidelity also contributed to the breakdown of those marriages. The stress of his career and the mistakes he made in his personal life likely caused Lee a lot of emotional pain. It's never easy when things go wrong at home, and having that kind of turmoil while trying to focus on a demanding career couldn't have been easy for him. Despite the personal challenges, he eventually found stability again, marrying his third wife Claudia in 1983, and the two have been together ever since. Trevino had a bit of a rocky relationship with Augusta National, the famous course that hosts the Masters tournament. He wasn't a fan of the whole vibe there. The atmosphere didn't sit well with him, and he also felt like the course just wasn't a good fit for his playing style. He didn't like how it played to his strengths, and that made him uncomfortable. So in response to that, he decided to boycott the Masters for a few years. Looking back on it, though, Lee admitted that it was a decision he regretted. He later called it the greatest mistake of his career. It's easy to see why he felt that way. Augusta is one of the most prestigious tournaments in golf, and turning down the chance to compete there probably wasn't the best choice in hindsight. Trevino didn't hold back when he spoke out about the penalty Colin Morikawa received at the 2021 PGA Championship for breaking a rule with his green reading materials. Morikawa had accidentally used a book that wasn't allowed under the rules, and he was hit with a penalty for it. Trevino thought the whole situation was pretty ridiculous. He called the rule goofy, and he wasn't shy about expressing how he felt. To Trevino, the incident showed just how confusing and complicated the rules of golf can be. He argued that the whole thing didn't seem like a big deal, but the penalty was still handed down, which made him question whether the rules were too strict or just too complicated for players to keep track of. Trevino has made a few comments about Tiger Woods over the years that have stirred up some controversy. At times, his remarks have been seen as critical or even a little insensitive, especially when they have touched on race. While Trevino is known for speaking his mind and having a no-filter approach, some of what he's said about Wood has raised eyebrows. For example, he's made comments about Wood's impact on the game, sometimes in a way that seemed dismissive or less supportive than expected, given Wood's dominance in golf. Trevino has also commented on the attention Wood received as an African-American player in a predominantly white sport, which some people felt was a bit tone-deaf or out of line. Trevino has always been known for speaking his mind. He's the kind of guy who doesn't hold back, no matter the topic. Whether he's talking about the rules of golf, other players, or even social issues, Lee has never been one to sugarcoat his opinions, and because of that, he's sometimes found himself in the middle of a bit of controversy. His outspoken nature means he doesn't shy away from tough or uncomfortable conversations, and that's gotten him into hot water a few times. For example, when it comes to golf rules, Lee has been vocal about what he sees as unnecessary or confusing regulations, often making headlines for his blunt takes. He's also weighed in on issues surrounding players, whether it's criticizing or offering his unique perspective on their behavior or performance. But it's not just golf he's talked about. Lee also made comments about broader social issues, some of which have sparked debates or drawn criticism. Speaking of how his career began, His first taste of golf came when his uncle handed him a few golf balls and an old club. From there, Lee's love for the game took off. By the time he was 14, Lee dropped out of school to work full-time. He earned $30 a week caddying and shining shoes, but that job came with some perks. The caddies had 3 short holes behind their shack, and after a long day of work, Trevino would grab his clubs and hit at least 300 balls, often on tough, bare ground that locals called Texas hardpan, and with the wind constantly blowing. Those conditions were tough, but they helped him develop one of the most unique and effective golf swings in the game. Trevino's swing became famous for being compact and unorthodox, but it was also incredibly effective. One of his signature shots was a controlled fade, though he had a whole range of shots in his arsenal. When Trevino turned 17 in December 1956, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. He served for 4 years as a machine gunner and was discharged in 1960 as a corporal with the 3rd Marine Division. After Trevino was discharged from the Marines, he moved to El Paso, Texas, where he worked as a club professional. To make some extra cash, he would gamble in head-to-head matches, testing his skills against others. Trevino's journey to success in golf was nothing short of remarkable. His big break came in 1966 when he qualified for the U.S. Open. Though he didn't win, he made the cut and finished tied for 54th, earning $600. The following year, in 1967, he qualified again and shot 283, finishing 5th, just 8 shots behind the winner, Jack Nicklaus. That earned him $6,000 and has secured him tour privileges for the rest of the season. As a rookie, Trevino finished 45th on the money list with $26,470 and was named Golf Digest's Rookie of the Year. His strong finish also earned him an exemption into the next year's U.S. Open. The real breakthrough came in 1968. In just his 2nd year on tour, Trevino won the U.S. Open at Oak Hill Country Club in New York. He shot an incredible 69, 68, 69, 69, becoming the first player to break 70 in all 4 rounds of a U.S. Open. He won by 4 strokes over Nicklaus, setting the stage for an unforgettable run. In the early 1970s, Trevino became Jack Nicklaus's top rival. In 1970, he finished as the highest earner on the PGA Tour, and in 1971, he won 6 tournaments, including the U.S. Open, Canadian Open, and the Open Championship, becoming the first player to win all 3 in the same year. He was named Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated and received the Hickok Belt as the top professional athlete. Then in 1972, Trevino successfully defended his Open Championship title at Muirfield in Scotland. His 3rd round performance was legendary, 5 birdies in a row, including a bunker shot on the 16th and a 30-foot chip-in on the 18th. In the final round, he was tied with Tony Jacklin, but a key chip-in on the 17th helped him win by a stroke. Trevino famously said afterward, "I'm the greatest chipper in the world." Despite a lightning strike injury in 1975 that caused serious back problems, Trevino remained a top contender. He went on to win his 6th major at the 1984 PGA Championship, making history by being the first player to shoot all 4 rounds under 70. Trevino didn't just dominate in the U.S., he also found success internationally, with victories in Australia, Japan, and Europe. His charisma and talent made him a fan favorite, and he became a star on the Senior PGA Tour, winning 29 times, including 4 senior majors. In 1981, Trevino earned a spot in the World Golf Hall of Fame, a well-deserved recognition for his incredible career. Then in 2000, Golf Digest magazine ranked him as the 14th greatest golfer of all time. It's a testament to how much of an impact he had on the game. All right, that's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed it and want to stay in the loop, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.